spring, got a good solid spring. Again, people think, they asked me what I like about it. I thought it was competitive. I thought it was physical. I thought in both lines, offensive and defensive line, we got much better. I think our skill guys, we were getting much better, and we had some injuries, and then just needing the numbers back. But the guys that played did a good job. Development, kicking game, we got some things done. But good, solid spring. Now we just got to evaluate what we are and who we are, and get those other guys back in June, the 1st of June into this May, and get the freshmen incorporated in what we do and how we do it, and get ready for a challenging season. But excited about it. Thought things went well this spring. Got a heck of a season, so we got to get ready to go.
To the right, Ben, and then to the left, Sam.
Jimbo, did you see enough out of Calzada today to maybe make him the number 2 going out of the spring?
No, I'll wait and look at the film, and then we'll see where we're at with what's going on there. But he made some nice plays today. You see some of his talent. As James, had a nice drive. We put him in a tough situation at the end. We had a misassignment on a guy, put a backer in a place that shouldn't have been there. But from that standpoint, I thought he played well. And Blumrick, when Blumrick can run and do his things, it takes his strength away when you're tagging him and not letting him run. So we'll look at it and see.
Sam Cobb right there.
Jimbo, how do you feel about your depth both at defensive line and at linebacker right now?
Defensive line I really like. I think we got really good depth. Our linebackers, you saw some of those young guys flash. We got to keep developing that depth at linebacker just from bodies, But I really felt comfortable in the defensive line. We got to develop more at linebacker.
Right side, Gabe, and then Wendell.
How about some of these guys like Moses Reynolds coming up in the spring game with 2 picks? Cabody, the way he shines. Some of these guys might be trying to get in that 2 deep.
Oh, they are. You got to have enough guys. Cabody had a good, solid day the other day in the scrimmage. He had opportunities because guys are banged up. He had a good day today. But the thing about it is now, when you start giving lots of carries now, they got to keep carrying that horse too. It's got to keep going. And I think that's something that they got to get used to. But, Moses is talented. And I say this, when Moses plays and decides to play, and I don't say it's not that he doesn't, but when he decides that he's locked in totally mentally, Moses is as talented as anybody on this football team. He is a very gifted guy.
Go Wendell on the right.
It's great to see him make those plays.
Cease on the left.
Jimbo, everybody always has a great recruiting class and a great spring. That's kind
all
of
the time.
Always the way it happens. As far as this game, though,
no, I think 52 stunk for us all spring. I think he wasn't very good.
As far as this spring game, was it what you expected, and what did it compare to last year's spring game?
I can't even remember last year's that much, but it was from a competitive nature and what we wanted to get out of it. And we knew we was going to have some battles up in the offensive and defensive lines and where we were from that standpoint. So I thought it was about like I thought it would go.
To the left, Cease, and then Suzanne.
Coach, you talked about yesterday about good plays when both teams were playing well. What about the 5 turnovers? How many of those do you think were good plays?
Most of them. The first play was a bad throw. He just didn't get his hips around. Other than that, I thought Kellen played outstanding in the game. His reads, his decision was really good. The last play by Moses was a great pick. That wasn't the guy. Got to give him more room. You're at the end of a game. You're going to take a shot and where you're playing. So it was a good defensive play. Wasn't a terrible throw. Just a really good play on defense. Blumrick's he can't. That one there, we got to make sure we don't need to throw it back like that. That was a miss. I'm trying to think of the other one. The one that the one happened on 4. What happened? We had a missed assignment on the call, and there shouldn't have been a backer in there, and he's not used. And on the call, we put him in a real tough situation there in the call. And I don't know the other one. The other one was a fumble. What was it? 88 fumbled the ball. Yeah. But it's ball security. He got a good ball, and I like to say he was anxious. He and 86 both, you see, can really make plays at times, and they got to get consistent. But he caught a nice ball, was running, and got it knocked out, and defense made a good play. So if you're gonna make them in spring.
We'll go right, Suzanne, and then left, Alex.
Hey, Jimbo, on your running backs, I noticed Vernon Jackson announced that he had a
he had a situation. We're getting him looked at. We're going to make sure we're the top people in the country look at him and make sure we get it evaluated and see where he's at.
Can you say?
No, I can't say. I can't say exactly what we have till we get the evaluation totally.
Well, given that, can you talk about the depth chart with your running backs and how well they played today?
Jay Sean had an outstanding spring till he got banged up. He's played extremely well. Vernon played really well till he got hurt. And you see Cabody, Prince, and then Cordarian was running well, but he had a family emergency that he had a death in the family that he had to go back to a funeral. He had a great scrimmage Wednesday, played really well, did some really nice things, but I think he can help us. So in that position right there, and then Ben Miles did a really good job, and Baldry up as a fullback. Those guys they're blocking and doing the things we need them to do.
Go to the left, Alex, then Ben, and then Gabe.
Hey, Coach. Kellen threw an interception on his first play. Were you pleased with the way that he responded and led the offense that
I thought he
first half?
played outstanding in the day. I mean, that player, he made a great read. He just getting his hips flipped. It was a second read down the field, and he's got to make a little longer throw in the opening one. But I think he came back and hit the next 9 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. And it had us on a great drive coming out the second half right there. We had a penalty. We lined up wrong. We had two guys on the ball. He was moving the ball very well. He had a good 2-minute drive. Made 2 touchdown throws. I thought he played really well. He managed the game back. You can see they had the young backs in the game. They were lined up wrong. He was moving them over, changing protection. I thought he had great command of what he was doing and where we were. I think we had about 3 drops on the day and behind him. And I can't really think of too many bad throws he had in the game. There was one there late. I said I wish he'd have missed outside just a little more, but. Other than that, I thought he played really well.
Second row right, Ben, then Gabe.
You guys have had a lot of people out. I mean, are there any long-term injuries that you
No.
expect? You think
They'll all be back.
Everybody be back in the fall?
They'll all be back. And if I thought, and probably a couple of those guys, if you were playing today in that regular season, you probably could have pushed them and got them. They could have played.
And a lot of those guys were receivers. I mean, I think you talked about those a while ago.
1, 13, 6, 9. I mean, all those guys were out. And then you had 7 out and 3 out.
Yeah, and so given that, I mean, how difficult is that to build consistency and rapport with your quarterback? I mean, even though they've played together for a while.
It is, because the first half of spring we were doing really good, and then what happens is you get guys used in the positions they haven't been in, and it does cause it. But spring. Your timing and rhythm now, you got to keep it all summer anyway. You got to have that rapport. But right now, what in spring is about finding out who you think can play, what they think they can do, where they're at in their development, and then get them ready in the summer and fall to play. And the continuity here, I want to execute and I want to play real well. But the points you score in a spring game, that's a hard timing and continuity to keep the whole time. But the good thing, you get confidence out of it, and I think we did the first part of spring. It's got to get them healthy and then get ready for camp.
Time for a couple more.
Speaking of health, I mean. Chapman's an interesting story because he hadn't played actual football since 2016. He goes out there and has a great spring game today, has a pick, has a sack, has 2 tackles for loss. Could this be a springboard for him, maybe?
I hope so. And we need him to go. He's a big, long, talented guy. There's big, long bodies.
Anything else for Coach? To the left, Sam, you'll wrap us up. We got players ready for you.
Going back to Calzada, I know you raved about him when you signed him. What did he show you today and how he handled it, and was that representative of what you saw from him during spring?
Yeah, I mean, you see arm talent. He has the ability to run the football. And he can make all the throws, and he's learning the command of what he's doing. I mean, we put him in 2-minute today, which he hadn't had a lot of during camp. He had a little bit of it, and wanted to see him out there in the lights, how he handled that at the end of the game and the plays he made, and thought he did a nice job. I mean, there's some things you wish he could have, make sure you're sitting in the pocket, but those guys on the defensive line were rushing pretty good. But thought he had a good day for the situations that he was in.
All right.
And I thought James did a nice job.